Hey guys, another video for our modern Japanese architecture playlist. We'd actually hoped to show you this house from the ground up, but 2 days before we shot this, it was nothing but a concrete slab. And then the next day, they turned up with their trucks and their big crane, and they pretty much got to the point you can see there. So in one day, from about 7:30 in the morning till about 6 o'clock at night, in one day, they got to pretty much the point that you're looking at there. And this is the second day, about halfway through the second day, or the late morning of the second day. So they've gone from concrete slab to this stage in about 10 working hours, and then rest of what you're going to see here is all in one day. So as you'll see, they've basically gone from a flat concrete slab on a piece of land to a house with a roof on it in 2 working days. And the working days aren't that long. They tend to, because it's winter, so they tend to start about 7:30 in the morning. They tend to finish about 6 o'clock at night. Sometimes there's a couple of guys left over after 6 o'clock, but majority of them are gone. They work as a big team, so this big team of guys start work at the same time. They take their breaks at the same time, exactly the same time. So everyone stops work, they sit down, they have a morning break, they go back to work, and then lunchtime everybody sits down. It's sort of a Japanese team way of doing things. Everybody takes a break at the same time. Also too, because everybody in this team obviously has a job, which means that if some stop, they all have to stop really. So as you can see, what's happening is the guys are taking the frames off the truck and putting them up to the guys up the top, who are basically working with nail guns and cordless drills. Most of what you can hear when you listen to the noise on this site, most of what you can hear is cordless drills, and it's the clutch in the cordless drill. So it's a as they drill the screws in. That's the majority of the sound. Interestingly, there's no sound of electric saws at all, which in some countries you'd be hearing electric saws, but there's none at all, because everything's turning up in modular form. One interesting tool we saw a few times, but we didn't get a chance to get on film for you, is they have a giant wooden mallet, and a really big wooden mallet, really big, serious wooden mallet with a really long handle. So the handle would probably be 1 meter long, and the mallet itself with a huge, big, heavy wooden head on it. And what they do is they use that to tap. So when they put these pieces up in place, quite often they're a tight fit, and you'll see them up there with the giant wooden mallet tapping these big frames into place with the big wooden mallet. And then it's around with the battery drill, ramp with the long screws, and sometimes with the nail gun as well. So the wall you can see facing us here, it's a bit hard to sort of see, but it's that fake brick we showed you before. It's actually sheeting, and it's some sort of polycarbonate type sheeting that's going on the outside. And it looks like brick, but obviously you can see it's not, because you can see it doesn't even go all the way to the ground. But it sort of looks like brick. We've showed you that on the modern architecture playlist once before. Real brick and mortar is really, really rare in Japan. We don't see it real often. It's not real practical in an environment where you get serious earthquakes, of course. Usually mortar doesn't stand up well to earthquakes. So these sheets that you can see that are facing us, those outside walls, they were actually one piece. So when they turned up, it was really fast. It was really fast. We really wanted to film this for you, and we just missed it, because they turned up and they've just lifted the things off the truck and just put them into place. And bang, there's the outside wall complete, the whole wall complete with windows. Boom, done. Next. So basically what we're looking at there is plastic and wood and some plasterboard, all pine wood, and that polycarbonate stuff. So you see lots of silicon. The guys that you see working on the outside of the building are all working with battery drills and silicon, tubes of silicon, running around siliconing everything up. And this place will be finished tomorrow, and they will be back probably within about 2 years or 3 years to go. They'll put the frame up again all the way around it, that scaffolding around it again, and they'll go all the way around it, and they'll repair all the silicon, because it only seems to stand up for 3 or 4 years, and they've got to come give it another treatment. And so they'll be back. Interesting too, the bank will value this brand new house at 20 years from now, they'll value this brand new house at 0. So the banks have a sliding scale. So from when it's new, say it costs them, this house would probably cost them about $180,000 to build, maybe $200,000 to build, just not including the land, that's just the house. And there'll be a sliding scale. So next year it's going to be worth 190, year after will be worth 180, and 20 years from now the bank will value that house at 0, and they'll value the house and the land at the cost of the land minus the cost to demolish the house. And that's 20 years from now. There's only some building companies in Japan that doesn't apply to. They build to different standards and the banks give them longer valuations, but the standard house like this, the bank will only give them 20 years. One other interesting point too, these guys have built this house from the ground up in 2 working days, pretty much. There'll be a couple more days to finish it off, but it would have taken them 4 or 5 months to get all the paperwork and everything else done to get to start the job, which is interesting, isn't it? It takes longer to prepare to get it started than it does to build it. Anyway, there it was. Instant house in Japan. More videos coming soon.